Here you are again at the Spooky Academy. My name is Liz, and with me I have Amanda. Amanda, say hi.
Hello, sorry, I was drinking coffee.
So I have 3 words for you, Amanda.
Yes.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Oh, I've heard about this. At least like a little bit.
Okay, so that is my topic today. So today, Amanda picked a topic, I picked a topic. We didn't tell each other, and we're coming to talk about it and discuss it. So mine is spontaneous human combustion. So picture this, 1951, a hot day in Florida, and you go to check on your friend, and you go to reach for the handle, and it's super hot, and you get really concerned. So you call the police. Police get there, they open the door, all they find is a pile of ash and feet. Untouched feet.
Why the feet?
Her feet didn't burn. The rest of her body burned but her feet. And what was crazy about it is that the rest of the room didn't burn. Just the little area where she sat in the chair and her body.
But not her feet. Like, doesn't make any sense.
But not her feet.
Like,
her feet
what?
were left behind.
So she was inside, and she just got on fire?
They
And
don't
that's just
know.
it?
Yeah.
Was she smoking?
So she was known to be a smoker. She was known to have taken medication for different things. She was very overweight, and her diet was not the best. So some people think that that might have been a factor. Her weight, the medications she was taking, her smoking, and that she might have fell asleep with the cigarette. So now I know now that they make cigarettes to where if you fall asleep and you're not smoking them for a bit, they turn off. Well, back in the 50s, they didn't do that. So they kept burning. So they think that that might have been a factor. But what they don't understand is how come she didn't burn down the house or anything in the room was not touched by the flames when she burned.
Right.
Crazy.
That's weird. That doesn't add up.
No.
Like, most of the time when you hear stories about the cigarette being lit and it catches stuff on fire, it takes the whole house down. Or,
Right.
like, the room, not just the person that was smoking it. Like...
Also, her skull shrunk.
How?
So the
What?
fire was so massive that it turned her bones to dust, but her skull shrunk. And scientists or experts or doctors, I'm not exactly sure, their exact title said that her skull should have exploded.
Right.
Or they would have found it broken or gone like the rest of her body, but it shrunk. So her skull shrunk like a shrunken skull. It's so crazy to me. And they have no idea
That's weird.
what
Like,
happened. But it was still hot enough to where the handle of the front door was hot, but yet the room didn't burn.
was there smoke in the room when she got there? Did she say?
No, there was no reports of smoke
Weird.
or anything. And the autopsy said death unknown. I mean...
Unknown? Like, she obviously, like, burned to death. Like...
So then there was another theory that someone came, murdered her, took her to a crematorium, cremated her body, left her legs, and put her back in her house.
Okay, come on, though. Like, that's so much work for someone to do. Like, no. If anything, I believe aliens over, like, that. Like, come on.
Of course, another theory is aliens.
Oh, there we go.
Of course, that's always a theory.
The nice ray gun.
Some scientists say that it is a very rare but a natural death, believe it or not. That I don't know too much about it, but they do say that they do consider those sometimes to be a rare and just natural death. Just because of, again, what are you taking medications, what's going on in your body. Sometimes they say the acid in your stomach mixed with something else can turn into hydrogen and blow up, because there have been reports of people seeing blue flames in the stomach, and blue flames means hydrogen. So just the body chemicals blow your shit up.
That sounds horrific.
Can you imagine just sitting, what if you just blew up in flames right now?
That'd be terrible. People would be like, what the hell happened to you?
That is terrifying. Ever since I've read about this, I sit there and I'm like, am I feeling hot? Like, I start cooling myself down because I'm
happening?
Blowing up. Then people wonder, with this whole cigarette thing, people were saying, well, maybe she lit on fire because of her cigarette. Well, people said, if she would have lit on fire, whenever people are burning, you have a response. Your response is to run, roll down, fall to the ground, something. But there was no other burns in the apartment or the house.
She just sat there. So I guess the theory of her being murdered and then burned kind of makes sense, because she just sat there, and if her feet were there, maybe the killer just, like, didn't care enough. Yeah, and was like, whatever, like, I'm gonna burn you alive so you can't tell, like, how I murdered you. But, like, for it to get so hot that her bones turned to dust and her skull shrank, like, that's ridiculous that someone who murdered her would have had to get that hot and not burn anything else in the house.
I think only fires, too, are in a crematorium is where your bones turn to ash, because, I mean, house fires, people find the charred bodies, but...
Right.
So it wasn't like a house fire, but this fire got so hot to where it shrunk her skull and made her bones into dust. Except for her feet.
Except for her poor feet. They're just sitting there.
In the shoes and everything.
They were still in the shoes.
They were still in the shoes, sitting there, like if a body was supposed to be sitting with those feet.
That's eerie.
It's very eerie. Can you imagine walking into your friend's house and like, oh shit, where's the rest of her?
Oh, that would smell really bad.
But she's dust. Would it smell?
I mean, shouldn't it? Because she burned. Like, this story has so many questions and, like, concerns. Like, there should have been smoke residue on the ceiling or something from her burning alive. It should have smelled disgusting because she was burned alive.
Right,
like,
it should have smelled like a barbecue or something.
Right? And it's weird that the handle was hot, but there was no smoke. Like, what happened?
So some people say she could have lit from the cigarette and could have burned like that. And there is a reason why she wasn't running around and fell to the ground, because maybe she was too drunk. Maybe she was on drugs. But then it would have burnt the whole house down.
Yeah. I had a terrible thought. I was like, well, if she's bigger, maybe all the fat just...
So that is a thing that is called the wick effect.
Really?
So, they burn, the fat burns, it liquefies, and it's like a candle.
Because that's what I kind of thought.
And it just stays, candles stay in place, and they burn up. That is another...
So that kind of makes sense why nothing else burned, except for the chair. Like, the chair should have burned, and it should have caught everything else, I guess. But I don't know. Like...
Right, it should have been an effect. Like, the chair starts burning, and then maybe it catches the curtain, and then the carpet.
Right. Like the domino effect. She's on fire, the chair's on fire, it just goes on from there. Like, whatever.
Blows my mind, though, how her house didn't burn down.
It weirds me out that was inside. Like, you told me it was spontaneous combustion, and there's actual plants out there that'll make that happen to you. Like, I don't know if you knew that, but there's dangerous plants out there. Like, I have a book at home that says about wicked plants, and one of them is that, where it secretes oils that naturally help it catch on fire. And people would be walking past these plants not knowing that, so they get covered in these natural oils, and it would catch them on fire on really hot days, because that's just what those plants, like... had happened to them. Like, they secreted these oils to catch on fire, people walked past them and they had it, and then boom, they would just light on fire, and people didn't know what the cause of it was. So
you mean to tell me that not only do I need to worry about bugs outside, now I need to really worry about plants?
Well, I don't think those plants are by us. I don't remember. I don't have the book. I wasn't expecting it. I would have brought it if I would have known.
I'm gonna need this book because I need to know. See, this is more reason why I stay inside my house and I do not leave.
I will bring the book next time, and we can talk all about my nice killer plants that I love.
Yeah. Getting burned up by a plant. I can't wait for that to happen.
That was rather surprising. I was kind of upset by that.
And I'm a cigarette smoker, so I can't imagine walking past this plant and then light my cigarette and
oh my god.
There I am.
Like, what happened to Liz? Oh, just your natural spontaneous combustion, obviously. Like, oh yes, that's so obvious.
Obviously.
My bad.
Do you hear that ringing?
I heard my stomach growl.
Oh. Or maybe it's in my ear, that ringing I just heard. It was really loud. So that is my topic. I know that spontaneous human combustion, there are over 200 cases of it.
Yes.
But I believe there are about 10 famous cases.
Oh.
I think because there is just I think the other 200 cases they could put behind, they have something, theories, or
like more plausible effects and reasoning.
Right, but these 10 don't. There's just...
They don't make sense.
They don't make sense at all. But there has not been a case that I've seen where they're walking and they do that. They always happen to be alone.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Stuff happens when you're alone. Never be alone. That's the lesson.
Yeah, right? So there's the 1951. Age is a factor. She was 67 years old. She was found in her house. It was a hot day in Florida, so they think that has something to do with it, because we all know that Florida is...
hellish.
Extremely hellish. In her autopsy, it found, it says that she did have sleeping pills, so that might...
So she could have been asleep because of the pills.
Right. Probably happened around 2 a.m. in the morning. So it didn't happen during the day. It was...
You think her neighbors would have seen the light coming from inside then, right?
You would think, right, because it was night outside, and then you see this big flame in your neighbor's window. I mean, I would be concerned.
I mean, I know it's like 2 in the morning, but it's Florida. People are usually awake, or it would wake you up because of such a sudden burst of light.
Right.
And it's so unnatural.
Just a little. Another notable example is Margaret Hogan, an 89-year-old widow who lived alone in Dublin, Ireland. She was found burned almost to the point of complete destruction in the 70s. This one, though, some of the stuff in her house was melted, like the plastic flowers on her table, this TV screen was melted, and it was 12 feet away from her chair where she was sitting. Both legs from the knees down still remained.
What is that about?
Legs don't burn? Legs are not flammable, apparently.
Oh, God. That one's interesting because the fire got so hot that it melted other things.
It did melt other things, although it didn't burn the house down. It did melt other things, which is crazy. I can't believe that things melt, but the house stays.
It sounds like it's being contained somehow, honestly. Like, something is containing the fire so it doesn't catch other things on fire.
So I wonder if it is the fat, the weight of these people. Is that fat like a wick and keeping that fire there instead of letting it go everywhere else? But it's still hot where it's melting things around it. At least 12 feet away. And then the third case was a 73-year-old man, Henry Thomas, who was found burned to death in his living room in South Wales in the 80s. His entire body was gone, so no feet. Oh, no, I am wrong. His entire body was incinerated, leaving only his skull and a portion of each leg below the knee.
Oh, so again with the legs, and again with it getting very hot. Yeah,
so the feet and legs were still clothed in socks and trousers.
This is weird. Like, the fire obviously is I feel like it's really quick and really hot because nothing else really gets burned, so obviously it doesn't burn for that long, but it's hot enough to totally just decimate the person.
What gets me is the legs, though. That
doesn't make any sense.
I don't...
Like, at
is
first...
the knees too thick that it doesn't get through? I don't know.
Well, if the first lady made sense. Like, she was sitting down. Like, okay, whatever. Like, maybe the fire just stops at her knees.
Right, because
she's just sitting there.
It's staying up.
Exactly. Fire doesn't climb down, it climbs up. So, like, that made sense. But these other two, like, we don't know what they were doing.
Found in his living room. This one does... Oh, it does say he was sitting in a chair as well.
Oh.
And the one in Ireland was sitting in her armchair.
So they're all sitting.
They were all sitting.
So that kind of makes sense then with the leg theory, because the fire would just climb upwards instead of going down. But it's still weird. Didn't catch anything else on fire, but okay.
And then in 2010...
Ooh.
Michael, a 76-year-old man in Ireland, was recorded as spontaneous combustion by the coroner. This one does not say where he was sitting, if his legs remained, or anything. Just says that he died in December of 2010. And he was 76 years old. So there is another common pattern that they are older.
I feel bad for that. Is it because they're papery, because they're older?
Oh, they bruise easily. They
just
light
catch
easily.
On fire. Oh no!
That's so horrible to say, but
Grandma, stay away from the fireplace.
Grandma, stay away from everything.
Yeah, from anything hot.
And me.
Oh no!
I
no, Grandma, I don't want to hug.
No, Grandma, you can't sit with me.
You can't sit with us.
Grandma, go away.
Oh no!
I wonder if a forest fire has ever been started by someone just sitting in their foldable chair enjoying the nature, and they just blew
catch
up
on fire.
And there goes a forest fire. Can you imagine?
That'd be sad.
That'd be extremely sad.
They're just trying to enjoy their day and they just blow up. Like, oh, alright. That one's an interesting one.
So that is my topic, was spontaneous human combustion. So what do you have for me today?
Mine isn't as interesting, I feel like. Mine's on the Bell Witch. Sound familiar?
Tell me why I was going to pick Bell Witch, but I thought
Really?
maybe thought that she was boring. But I love the Bell Witch. This is one of my favorites.
Well, dang, you obviously already know about her.
No, but we can talk about her. So tell me.
about
You might tell me something I might not know.
I only have like 2 pages of info, because I had to cut it down.
That's okay.
I had to do with John Bell when he moved his family from North Carolina to the Red River Bottomland in Robertson County, Tennessee, which then became Adams, Tennessee, like, a while later. He had his wife, he had 3 kids, Elizabeth, which is Betsy, and Richard, and Joel. And then apparently he was out in his cornfield one day in 1817, just checking it out and being like, how's my corn doing? When he saw a really weird animal that had the body of a dog and the head of a rabbit, and he just kind of stared at it in awe, just like, what the hell is that? And then shot at it. Naturally.
Yeah, I would shoot at it too. Or I might just run inside.
I was going to say, why don't you just like run away?
Well,
Don't
mean, if I had
at it.
gun, I would shoot at it, but most likely I won't, and I'll be running away.
You just run. Well, obviously it vanished because he missed, because he's a terrible shot. He didn't think anything about it until, like, after dinner when they started hearing really loud beating sounds on the outside of their house. And again, they're just like, we're going to ignore this and it'll be fine. Classic response.
Oh, normal.
Yes.
Go back to sleep, honey. It's
Don't
nothing.
talk about this. It kept going on, and then obviously the occurrences got worse. The kids started complaining that there were supposed rats biting on their bed, how their blankets and pillows are being thrown on the ground by some random ghost. And they start hearing whispers of some old lady singing hymns to them, apparently.
Oh, that's the worst. Old ladies and hymns.
Why is it always old ladies?
Oh, it's always the old people. I'm sorry, old people. Yeah.
Why don't we have 2,000 ghosts
You're
saying,
just
it's
creepy.
Britney, bitch. I want that.
Oh my god.
But then, as you know, since you like the Bell Witch, it just started getting worse, and eventually Betsy, the youngest daughter, started experiencing, like...
Human combustion.
Dude, I bet she wished at that point. She kept getting brutal beatings with this random entity. Her hair would get pulled, she'd get picked up, slapped repeatedly and relentlessly, and there's nothing you can do. You don't know what the hell's fighting you. It's just invisible. Like, you're just getting slapped by the air.
Just trying to sleep, get a good night's sleep, and all of a sudden you're getting your ass beat.
It's like, wake up. Like, oh okay. My bad.
Sorry.
And of course, the dad, John Bell, was like, guys, shut the hell up. We're not going to tell anybody about this. We're going to keep it to ourselves. We don't want to be labeled as a bunch of freaking weirdos. And then, later he tells his BFF, James, where are you, James? James Johnston. Very
Typical
American name.
First colony name.
Yeah.
How old is, I'm sorry, what year was this again?
Early 1800s.
Ah, naturally.
Yes. Around 1817. So then John's BFF was like, I'm going to sleep over to see if you are telling me lies. So...
That is a good BFF right there. I'd be like,
right?
I'm not going to your house. Don't
Especially
call me over.
hearing about that, it'd be like, we could do it maybe if we have, like, holy water and a priest with us, but anyway. James sleeps over at John's house, and they experience the same horrible things that were happening. So they just got up and left, and were like, wow, John, your life sucks, bye. And they left.
Yeah.
Over time, the voice got stronger and more clearer, and it actually started speaking from scriptures and total hymns, and actually was talking to them. Apparently not about very specific things. Like, it all sounded very casual talk for a spirit like that, rude and relentless. I never saw anything that was, like, it telling the family, like, you're horrible, I hate you, I'm gonna kill all of you. It was just kind of, like...
Doing its own thing.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't understand that part because it seemed so violent and so against, like, John and being so mean to Betsy, his youngest daughter, but then it just, like, talked to them and quoted scriptures. Like, why would it do that?
Yeah.
But eventually, word got around, and it went all the way to Nashville, where the then Major General Andrew Jackson heard about it and took interest. He decided in 1819 to go visit the house. While he's going there in his nice horses and wagons, it got stuck. Like,
okay.
At the edge of the property line, and the horses weren't moving, and they kept trying to coax the horses to move. They're like, get your asses going, and they just stood there.
You know what? Animals always, they know better.
They do.
They're smarter than us. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what your IQ says. If the birds are flying away, I'm running that way.
Like, it's never a good sign when they do that.
Nope.
Ever.
Never.
If your dog doesn't want to go in the house, like, that's not good.
Yeah, I'd be like, you know what? We're not going in.
Like, you need
it's
to
okay.
leave. Yeah, it's not okay. So it got stuck, and then this line made me laugh when I read it. Apparently Andrew Jackson was like, by the eternal, boys, that must be the Bell Witch. Like, all proclaiming and super, like, generally. And it's like, honey.
I can picture him standing up with, like, his arm and waving in the air.
I could see that.
Hand in his
like,
hip.
Yeah. He's got his sword out, pointing in the air. Oh, that's the Bell Witch. Like, all right, sit down. But apparently it spoke to him and was like, oh, yes, you may go forward. I'll just see you later. And they did. They just went forward because the wagon got unstuck.
Like, the horses moved?
Yeah, after they got the okay from this invisible voice, apparently.
Ugh, chills.
Well, they get to the house. Jackson has a couple guys with him. One of them has, like, a silver bullet and is like, I have a silver bullet, and the witch isn't gonna mess with us. And the witch is like, bitch, please. And, like, kicks him in the gut and kicks him out of the house, like, in front of Andrew Jackson. He sees all this happen with this invisible entity. So his men are, like, begging to leave, because after that, the voice came back being like, there's another faker in your presence, and I'm gonna find him and torment him. So they're all tweaking out, and he's like, no, we're staying the night, and that's final. And then come in the morning, they're spotted in nearby Springfield on the way back to Nashville. They didn't even, like, last the night. They just left really early.
What's funny is that guy brought a silver bullet, and I think he was thinking werewolf, maybe?
I mean, silver was good for a couple of things besides werewolves, I believe, but, like, it wouldn't have fucking done anything. Ooh, sorry.
To a ghost?
Yeah. To a ghost.
Like, what are you shooting at?
You're gonna shoot the air and have your bullet go into the wall? Wow, you did a lot. I'm proud of you. Like,
oh,
good
people.
for you.
Men.
But apparently it stayed with them their entire life until John Bell's death on December 20th of 1820. This entity actually claimed it had killed him because one of his sons, or his only son, Joel, I think, found a weird vial in their cabinet filled with some kind of liquid. And, like, when he found it, the voice proclaimed, yeah, I used that to kill him, haha, and just kind of, like, went off on a little funny tangent with it because it thought it was so funny. So they, like, threw it into the fire, and the fire turned, like, purple and blue, and they're like, oh my god. But then, here's the weird thing about that. Once he was dead, it still didn't leave. Like, apparently, it just hung around and talked to the family. I think it had a specific, like, it was Betsy, I believe, it might have talked to more.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it would just stay around and talk to the family occasionally about life and Christianity and things like that, which I totally didn't understand. Because if it's a Bell Witch, why does she even give one flying flop about Christianity?
So like, I know they made a movie on this, right? It was
I thought they did.
American Haunting or American Horror Story. No,
it wasn't.
Something haunting with an American with a story.
Yeah. Isn't that the one where the dad, like, raped his daughter?
Yes.
That's what I was thinking, and that's why I thought it was there.
So, not, like, obvious. Well, I don't know if he did that or not.
Right, like, we don't know. He died, and if he did it, he took it with him, like.
I think a lot of that plot, the stuff in that movie were based on the Bell Witch. Cause
that one made sense.
That was, like, you know, the pulling on her and smacking her around.
Which, you know, like, she already got raped. Like, why are you gonna beat her up? It's not really her fault, but okay.
Right.
Like.
So the Bell Witch has a cave, too, right on the property, because it was a very big property.
Yeah, he had a lot of property. He had a big amount of property, and I believe he bought, like, 230... He acquired more land, increasing his holdings to 328 acres.
So that's a big... I know that there was a cave, and I remember seeing that they went into the caves and found some Native American drawings on the cave walls. So they were thinking maybe it was an Indian burial site or an Indian ritual thing, and that's what was around
Right. Like it was one of their kind of spirits.
Like their spirit, that kind of mojo around that area. So it could have been on whatever they did, or what was in that ground, or if they cursed it after, the Americans came and took the land from them.
Right.
And unleashed this Bell Witch on whoever were to stay on that land.
That makes so much more sense, because the story I found with it speaking about Christianity and stuff, it's like, no, like, that doesn't fit, especially after, like, it killing the dad made sense, because he had obviously done something wrong, but then it still continued to hang out, like, around them. Like, maybe that makes some sense, because it's so strong at that point, it's just gonna stick around, because it can't just bail, like, right away, maybe.
Right.
But then talking to the family all casually about life and, like, things like that. Like, that's just... It seems so friendly from this one story I found. It was really strange.
I do believe that the family would hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know how casual it was with them, but I know that it would bother them on the daily.
I know that... I didn't include it in my little, like, note things I had, but Betsy tried getting married to somebody, and apparently she kept getting, like, just harassed by it.
Yes.
Constantly. Until she finally broke off the marriage, and even afterwards, like, the witch would tell her, like, he's no good, stay away from him, continuously, even after, like, it lightened up a little bit after she broke off the wedding and the marriage, but, like, for whatever reason, that Bell Witch was just like, no, this is not okay for you, like, get rid of him. Until she finally just did, because she couldn't stand it, like.
Yeah, funny, though, like, you're gonna leave that property, or did she plan on living there with her husband?
I think she totally left it and it just kept following her around.
Oh, it just kept following her. So
yeah.
It left the property and went with her.
Yeah, because she would hear it other places. Like, one of the things I think I read was, like, she was standing by either a lake or a river or something, and she just kept getting harassed by it until she finally just said out loud, like, fine, I'm just gonna end it, or whatever, and then it got quiet. Like, I don't know what was up with Betsy, but she had it out for her, so...
Yes. And I think it's just like that movie. It was the girl that it was attracted to. It's always us girls.
I feel bad for her. Like, she didn't do anything wrong. Like,
she just moved where her parents told her to move.
Right? Like, okay.
I do like the Bell Witch. I do want to go to the caves and see. Although I don't believe you're allowed to go in there anymore, just because the people don't know how to keep their hands to themselves, and they keep ruining and touching everything.
They ruin everything.
And I believe it is bad luck to take rocks and stuff from there, and people kept taking rocks, so not only are you messing up the area, but people have been getting haunted by these haunted rocks. And just the haunted presence of it. So, but I do want to go take a glance at it and go check it out.
There's caves nearby that we could go to, but it's not
Get in the back way? No.
I think I believe it's Addison. They're like dragon caves. They're fenced off, but, not well enough so that we can actually get in there. But the caves look massive, and they honestly look kind of scary.
I believe you told me about this before. I think you showed me pictures of this.
Me and my mom went there one time, like, on a trip back home. We didn't go inside the caves because it was just us two, and we saw a bunch of, like, bikers going there. Not saying bikers aren't bad people, but it was just, like, me and my mom when I was, like, little, so she was
Side
like,
note,
no.
Bikers are not bad. We're not saying that at all.
No, like, for real. But she was just like, it's just me, a single mom with my young daughter. Like, I'm not taking us into a cave that we don't know how to get out of with a bunch of people we don't know. Like, she was just like, no.
That is understandable, and I do agree with that.
Yes.
And people should too if they listen to this. I think caves are scary in general.
Addison has a lot of stuff. They have the dragon caves. They have, I believe, a haunted theater, haunted cemetery, and a haunted house. Which we did go visit all of those things as much as we could because it was during, like, the middle of the week at some weird time where everything was just kind of closed.
Yeah.
Like, the house was down for construction. They did let us walk around the property, though, where, like, they found, from what I remember from my tiny child memory, little boys' bodies.
Oh,
like,
boys?
I think it was the son that lived there. Like, they found his body, like, somewhere on the property. So they let us actually walk around the property, even though it wasn't even open because it was under construction. And even that alone was just kind of weird. Like, it was just quiet, and it was just kind of, like, really...
spooky.
It was just still. Like, the air there was just very still, and you were just kind of like, this is weird to just be here. And you felt like the house is just kind of, like, watching you a little bit, like, why are you on my property? You know? Just like, okay, I'm leaving.
Do I have a story for you on haunted houses. Watching you and creeping you out. But that's not this episode.
Right.
If I could, I would talk to you about everything I know, and then I just have one episode.
One long episode.
One long episode.
Hours long. But that was my topic, the Bell Witch, really quick. Didn't go too far in depth with it because I knew we wanted to keep it a little bit shorter. So it's just a little bit of things thrown together.
Always love the Bell Witch. Such a good story. If you don't know it, watch that movie. I believe there is another movie out there. I don't know what it's called, but it's more of found footage movie on the Bell Witch. Look it up. There's 2 parts to it. Pretty good. Just Google Bell Witch. You'll see all the good stuff. See all the good stories. Such a good story. Good history. Good old American history there.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for today's episode. We have spontaneous human combustion and we have the Bell Witch. 2 great topics. 2 interesting topics. Google them. See feet. Lots of feet by chairs. Google the Bell Witch, you'll see the cave. And other than that, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.